This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, hi there, ho, there's Jeff Cutter Diving. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, October the 8th, is a NASCAR driver. I know you've been thinking to yourself, you're doing NASCAR? Why not? Well, this guy drives in the NASCAR Cup Series, you know, the big network. The big series, driving numbers 23 and 45. Which is kind of strange. But anyway, he also takes part in the Xfinity series. But anyway, he's the only full-time African-American driver in NASCAR. He is Bubba Wallace, who is now 29 years old. Bubba Wallace started racing in events when he was 9 years old in Alabama. And in 2008, at the age of 15, he became the youngest driver to win at the Franklin County Speedway in Virginia. Wallace would participate in a regional series and drove for Rev Racing, which would be part of NASCAR's Drive for Diversity. So Joe Gibbs Racing signed him as a developmental driver. And he actually won at Greenville Pickens Speedway, his very first race in that series, the Pro East Series. He was also the youngest to do so. He would actually win Rookie of the Year and take third in the points race. He was the first African-American driver to win a Rookie of the Year in any NASCAR iteration. In 2011, in the Pro Series East, he would win 3 times and finish second to Max Gresham on points. And Wallace would stay with Joe Gibbs Racing for 2012. He actually raced 6 times at the Nationwide Series. That's what the Xfinity Series is now, the minor league of the NASCAR. Anyway, he did it good. So in the Xfinity Series, he would make his debut in 2012, driving the number 20 car at Iowa Speedway. He would finish 9th. He did win the pole at Dover in September. He didn't win a race, but he was making things happen. 2014, he came back wearing the number 20. And would end up finishing 34th at Talladega. His second race at Daytona made him finish 7th. In 2015, it looked like Wallace would move up to the minor league system, the Xfinity Series, full time. But the team couldn't find sponsorship, so he left. And then he found out he could run for Roush Fenway Racing in 2015. And he would be in the number 6 car. Wallace did okay, taking 7th in the point standings. And he almost won Rookie of the Year, but Daniel Suarez beat him. In 2016, he took 2nd at Daytona, at Dover. He would finish 11th in points. Wallace would have kind of a disappointing 2017 series. But they ended up, he was 4th in the Drivers' Championship standings. Roush Fenway suspended operations of Wallace's team because of sponsorship issues. Wallace would drive the number 98. To take 10th place. He competed in the Truck Series. He ended up winning the Truck Series at the Camping World 200 in Martinsville. The last African-American driver to win any NASCAR sanctioned race was Wendell Scott in the Grand National Division in 1963. Wallace would take 8th in the 2013 Truck Series. 2014, he won 4 races and took 3rd place in the points. 2017, he came back to the Truck Series and all that. He won the race. Unfortunately, well, he won the race in Michigan. Unfortunately, that was bad because it was discovered to have illegal vent holes. And got penalized 10 points. So, anyway. But then, in 2017, he got to the big boys, the NASCAR Winston Cup. Well, the NASCAR Championship. Anyway, Wallace would be driving the number 43 for Richard Petty Motorsports in place of Eric Amarola, who was injured. So, Bubba Wallace became the first African American driver in NASCAR in the main series since Bill Lester in 2006. He would start 16th. Unfortunately, though, he got trouble with speeding penalties on pit rule. He would finish in 26th. He passed out, but he said it was self-inflicted. Wallace would take 11th at Kentucky. So after Amarola wanted to leave Richard Petty Motorsports, Bubba was given the number 43 car. He would be the first African American driver since Wendell Scott in 1971 to be African American and have a drive in NASCAR's main division. Wallace received lots of support prior to the Daytona 500, and he shocked a lot of people by only finishing second place. Austin Dillon won the Daytona 500 in 2018, but Bubba Wallace was second. He narrowly clipped Denny Hamlin to get that spot. Unfortunately, he would only have 2 top 10 finishes elsewhere, but he still was making his potential. He would finish 5th at the 2019 NASCAR All-Star race. He didn't really have much highlights and all that. Unfortunately, Bubba Wallace was mad after a Charlotte race when he splashed water on Alex Bowman's face and all that. So anyway, Wallace was given a $50,000 fine and docked 50 points. In 2020, he ended up being 18th in points because of the COVID pandemic. He would take part in the NASCAR series, the NASCAR with video games and all that. Anyway, he wasn't too happy with that. So anyway, he finished 22nd in the point standings. In 2021, he would race for 23XI Racing as Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan would team up to create a NASCAR team. Bubba Wallace would drive with that team. He finished 4th, and he qualified 4th for the Daytona 500, and then took 17th in the race. He actually took 2nd in Daytona in August. Well, he would have been 3rd, but there was a disqualification of Chris Buechler, the 2nd place car. So he got 2nd. However, Bubba Wallace would win at Talladega, October 2021, after the race was shortened due to rain. And he did it. He was the first black driver to win a main NASCAR race since Wendell Scott in 1963. In the 2022 season, well, he failed to qualify for the playoffs, the NASCAR playoffs. However, he did win just a month ago at Kansas. So he's got 2 races under his belt. But the problem was that there was a noose that actually was placed in Wallace's garage stall at Talladega June 21st, 2020. It was embarrassing and all that. However, the drivers and crews of NASCAR pushed Wallace's car to the front of pit road in a show of solidarity. All that. However, investigation said that he wasn't the victim of a hate crime. The alleged noose was actually a pull-down rope with a loop that was located on an overhead door since 2019. So, anyway. I don't know. NASCAR would have to go through sensitivity and unconscious bias training. All that. Donald Trump, unfortunately, would tweet that Wallace should apologize for investigation, rating at hooks while adding it in NASCAR's Confederate flag plan. Lowest ratings ever. But, unfortunately, Trump would get it wrong because the ratings actually increased by 8%. So he's an activist in Black Lives Matter. Anyway. Bubba is actually born to a black mother and a white father. So that's amazing and all that. Bubba Wallace suffers from depression sometimes. And he does have Richard Petty's signature tattooed on him. Bubba actually voiced a character, Bubba Wheelhouse, in Cars 3. And Netflix did a docuseries, Race, Bubba Wallace. That's pretty amazing. So yeah, he's 19th in the Cup standings right now. So, well, he's trying to make things better for diversity. I mean, Lewis Hamilton is a black driver, and he's turning up F1. But, you know, things will change in America, hopefully. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond.